Hey everyone, I wanted to tell you about some of my very favorite picture books that came out in 2017. So I just grabbed three here, my top three from the year. So the first one is Lalas Magic Pencil, and it's kind of like the children's version of Malala's story, which is really awesome because it's great to kind of make that accessible for younger kids as well. It does kind of clash over the details of what happened to her, but it does mention that some bad people tried to stop her from being educated. It's got beautiful pictures and kind of there's like a gold kind of theme that goes through it. You can kind of see that there's some gold. I know my son really loved to try and find the gold on each page, and it's a wonderful story so that kids can kind of see that not everyone has the same privileges that they might have, that they might not have the same freedoms, and that education doesn't come as easily to some other people. So it's a really great book for kids to kind of see that different perspective and see that window into someone else's life. So if you haven't read that one to your kids yet, get it for sure. The next one I really loved. I am kind of a science nerd, but I really, really love this book. It's called Life by Cynthia Ryland. Brendan Wenzel did the pictures, and they're absolutely gorgeous inside. Just wonderful kind of book that not only talks about life in kind of a physical sense, but kind of metaphorically, kind of more about life's journey and where it can take us, all the while talking about the growth of kind of like real life and animals and kind of just the different paths it can take us on. So it's just a beautiful book. It's kind of feels simple, but it's a lot more complex if you kind of think of the deeper meaning. So that's Life, probably one of my favorite ones. This is my absolute favorite picture book from last year. It's my son's favorite too. When I'm looking at picture books, it's pretty easy for me to figure out what's amazing because I take my cues from my son. He's only 3, but we do read a lot in our family. And I know that a book is fantastic to him when I see him picking it up on his own and wanting to read it again and again and again and reading it by himself in the quietness of his room. This one, he would not stop reading. He would not put it down. He just loved it so much. He loved the beautiful pictures. He loved the character, which is kind of, there's a little girl with a little fox. He loves animals. And the neat thing about this book that probably my son loved the best was there were no words in this book. So you have to kind of figure out the story, which is wonderful, not just for little kids, but for older kids. You can use this in your classroom teachers for inferencing and for developing empathy, for kind of trying to figure out how each person or each character feels. It is a story of kindness, and it's really evident in here the kindness that the characters show, and it's a wonderful book to kind of talk about that kindness and how each character felt when kindness was shown, and how we can show that same kindness. So this is my favorite one. It's so good. It's called Little Fox in the Forest. It's by Stephanie Gregan, and little foxes are kind of in right now. I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but if you look in stores, it seems like there's foxes everywhere, and my son certainly has noticed that. For Christmas, he got this book, even though we had gotten it from the library about 15 times. He wanted his own copy, and then he also got a little stuffed fox, which he really loves as well. He kind of takes it everywhere, but it's just so meaningful, and it's just so relevant, and it's a book that's accessible for little kids, for middle graders, for older kids. It's a book that you've got to read with your kids or with your students. So if you don't have this in your collection, if you don't have it in your library schools, get it. Talk to other teachers, other parents about it, because this is a must-have. So those are my 3 favorites from last year. I'll see you next time with maybe some middle grade favorites.